Hey folks, Mike from LI Flies Mike here, and today we're going to be tying a fly that was popularized by one of the most influential fly fishermen in my opinion. As always, the full list of materials will be down in the description below. We're going to get started by tying in some bucktail here, and we're going to tie this right behind the hook eye, wrapping back towards the hook point, and this will form the tail of the fly. Wrapping our thread back, we're going to tie in some body braid. Originally this was tied with tinsel. If you have any tinsel, you can feel free to use it, but a more modern solution is some Bill's body braid. Covering this in some super glue for some durability, we're just going to wrap the body braid forward towards the hook eye, making sure to cover our thread and wrap it down front and back to secure it. Now for the wing, we're going to be using some bucktail here as well. I'm taking some olive bucktail. You can use any sort of colors you like. And we're going to tie this in to be right about the same length, if not slightly a little longer than the white bucktail that we tied in for the tail. Tying this in right behind the hook eye, being sure to wrap it nice and neat. And you want to build up some thread for the head because we're going to be going old school with this fly and painting on some eyes. Throw a whip finish in here, and now we can start painting on the eyes. So taking some Army Painter war paint here, I use these for Warhammer 40k for some of my nerdier side hobbies. I'm just going to be using some acrylic paint and taking some white and building the base of the eye here. Now you can use all sorts of different paints. There's acrylics, there's oil paints. You'll have to experiment. Try and get a paint that has some quality to it. That's why I use these miniature paints, because the dollar store paints are pretty much just chalk and pigment and barely cover anything. I'm just going to use some white paint here to create the base of the eye, and then we're going to follow it up with some black paint for the pupils. Traditionally, before stick-on eyes were a thing, this is how a lot of people put eyes on their flies. They would paint eyes on the head using some paint. You could use yellow, white for the base, and then black for the pupils, vice versa. So this is what you see in a lot of old school flies back from the 40s, the 30s, and the 50s, stuff like that. So after letting these eyes dry for a second, we're just going to take the bodkin, dip it in some black paint, and just lightly apply a small pupil to the center. You can see I'm using my hand to make sure that I don't slip here, and just neatly kind of apply a pupil to the center of your painted eye. Then we can go ahead and cover this in some resin to make sure it's durable. I'm using some medium resin here. I'm just going to apply a small amount and cover the head like we would with a deceiver. I'm going to neatly spread this around, being sure to cover the painted eyes to make sure that they don't chip off over time. So Joe Brooks popularized this fly. This is the blonde fly. Joe Brooks, in my opinion, is one of the most influential saltwater fly fishermen of our time, who's very well known. Everything from permit to bonefish to saltwater fly fishing all over the world. And at the time in the 60s and 70s, this was really one of the most popular flies for saltwater fly fishing. A little interesting thing I found was that apparently Homer Road Jr. developed a tarpon fly that was essentially this, and Joe Brooks popularized it as the blonde fly. But if you haven't looked into Joe Brooks, I highly recommend it. He's got some great books, and he was one of the most influential saltwater fly fishermen of our time. Reportedly also helped inspire Bob Popovics to create the surf candy after fishing this fly. Well, that's the Joe Brooks blonde fly. Hopefully you enjoyed. I think it's important to shine a light on some of these older flies that inspired a lot of the saltwater flies that we have today. Now for the Razzle Dazzle giveaway winner. I put the URL into a YouTube random comment picker. And let's see who's going to be winning here. Jaren2834. Nice action on this fly. Reminds me of some tube fly streamers I have in my very long fly box. LOL. And not your standard size fly box. Just saying. Congratulations, Jaren. I need you to reach out to me on Instagram or through our Discord. You can join. And send me a shipping address and we'll send you some flies, alright? If that doesn't work, let me know. We'll figure out another way to get in touch. But thank you so much for watching. My name is Mike. Until the next one, tight lines.